I'm gonna just tell y'all that me and my siblings got the top mom in the world. We really
Thank
cause
you.
like we
Thank
really
you.
make a joke around the house that we have a super mom.
It's the Working Mom.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Working Mom podcast. Today, our special guest is the founder and co-CEO of I Am Brand. He's also a recent Penn State graduate, psychology student. He's also studying his master's degree in psychology, and he's also my oldest son. So I know all the other kids say through social media he has nicknamed himself Trigger Tay, as Trey Songz's little son. But today we have Monte. How are you today, Monte?
How you guys doing? I'm doing good. My mom basically introduced me already, but as she said, I'm the co-founder of I Am Brand, and I recently graduated from Penn State University. I'm currently enrolled in the master's program at North Central University
Mm-hmm.
to get my master's in psychology. And currently I actually just received a job as a registered behavior technician. So that's who I am.
Obviously, I'm a super, super proud mom. So when I thought about my first guest today, it was a no-brainer to me to have you on the podcast for our very first episode. So tell everyone a little bit about the I Am brand and basically what it stands for, what it means to you. I know that you're a mental health advocate, and we always speak several times a day about your thoughts and concerns on everything happening now in the world. And I know you're big on trying to give back to the community and also help other young African American males and be a mentor and so forth. So just tell me a little bit about the I Am brand, what I Am stands for, and kind of what you and your business partner are doing with this brand.
Okay, so I Am Brand is basically a platform that me and my cousin William Jenkins has started to promote mental health awareness because we noticed that, especially in this generation, there's a lot of things that go on and people don't really like to speak on it, or somebody feels a certain way and people will just brush past it, or usually like, especially for African Americans, if you notice a lot, people will tell women, oh, that's a strong woman right there, that's strong. But it's only strong because people are used to seeing someone overcome certain obstacles, but they don't know what they see behind, they don't see what's going on behind closed doors. So they
Mm-hmm.
keep calling this person strong, but really in their head, this person could be about to break down at their last straw, but they don't have anyone to confide in or don't know what to do. So we basically started I Am Brand as a platform to basically like help others, like you guys, people can. We're gonna have the I Am podcast. We'll do a lot of collabs with the Working Mom podcast. We started off as just a clothing brand, which I actually have on my shirt right now, and this is the I Am. This is one of our logos. We have graphic tees. We have sports bras, leggings, baby clothes, hoodies, sweatsuits, headbands, anything you can think of. But that's just the beginning. We eventually want to expand to a nonprofit foundation. Eventually, like we want I Am platform to be huge. Like eventually, I Am Rex and Parks. Uh, I Am movie theaters. I Am everything. And where we got the name from was basically just saying like I am somebody. Like don't ever feel as though because you're in a situation now that oh you're low or you're not up to the standards where everywhere you should be. You
Mm-hmm.
can your life anybody life can change within 2 weeks. Your life can change in a month. Your life can change in a year. So just never give up because you are somebody. So that's why we started I Am, so people can know that I am somebody and you can express who you want to be. I am a strong, independent person. I am a strong single mother. I am this. So whatever you want to be, this platform gives you the chance to express who you really are without someone else kind of, oh, she does this or he does that or he's known for this. So
Mm-hmm.
this platform just gives people a chance to really express like Who are you, or what is your story? Tell your story. How do you feel? If you're not feeling good today, it's okay to not feel good. You don't have to have a good day 365 days out of the year. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, a lot of people don't know that that's okay. Like, you can take days where it's just not your day to day. That's fine. But as long as you wake up tomorrow and have another chance at it, then let's keep going. So that's basically what I Am brand is.
And I know when you came to me originally, you guys already had the business plan and the idea of the company and so forth. But I thought it was amazing. Like, when I first heard the meaning of it and how you guys were spelling it and what the brand was going to represent, I immediately wanted to back and support, not just because you're my son, but I just felt like that was an amazing platform to start. And that was something that in this day and age and what we're seeing happening across the world right now, specifically, that's a very needed brand. Our community specifically would be able to easily back and support. And like you said, just mentoring other youth and just letting people know that it's okay to express yourself. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to have an opinion. And I know back when I was younger, kids didn't really have an opinion like that. It was kind of where, you stay out of adults' conversations and, you weren't able to really speak up and say what your thoughts were to your parents or to your peers. And a lot of times that even left a lot of people in my community, in my generation, not able to so easily speak up and express ourselves, or easily even sit on a platform similar as this and kind of speak about our thoughts and express ourselves. My era is known for being so private, and just everything you keep privately, you keep into yourselves. And as being your mom, that I also tried my best to, once I learned that that was not the best way to go and that everybody should be able to express themselves, that I wanted to break that generational curse and allow you and your brother and sisters to also be able to openly speak and have dialogue, have conversations, tell us how you guys feel and so forth. So I think the brand is amazing. I support you, and we support 100% the I Am brands, all the merch and so forth. It's awesome. I know that you design a lot of that merch yourself, and it's you and Will together. And I mean, the hoodies and so forth, it's some things that you put on the platform recently that I was like, this is awesome. So I can't wait to see where I Am brand goes in the next few years and in the future, and globally as well. So obviously, again, everybody wants to always ask me about, my son going away to college and so forth. So I get so many questions all the time. I was actually just out yesterday, and people always ask about Monte. They always want to know, how are you doing? Not necessarily because they don't want to know how all the other kids are doing, but it's just amazing to see someone your age go off to college, graduate so young and start the master's program, relocate, and just all the amazing moves that you've been making in the past few years. So let's get into that just a tiny bit. So just tell us a little bit about your experience. You lived on the dorm all 4 years of college. You left for college immediately after graduating high school, and I think you were, 17 at the time?
17.
Yeah, 17. And you probably, after graduation, stayed home for just a few weeks and went right into a summer program at the college and stayed on campus. So, and also being a student athlete, you almost could never come home. I mean, we were always traveling back and forth up to Pennsylvania to visit you during Thanksgiving and Christmas and so forth. And I know now a lot of young people, especially student athletes, are very interested in, getting into college and being an athlete, but they really don't understand the mental capacity that you have to be able to be away from your family, be away from your friends. Most of the time you were there, you had a single dorm, so kudos to me. You didn't really have to share a room. But some people are not in that situation. They have to have a roommate in those small confined, areas and so forth. So just tell us a little bit about your experience as a college student and what your thoughts were on campus, and if you have any recommendations for any up and coming graduates, as well as your little brother that's coming up on his senior year of high school. I know you guys talk all the time about your experience and what to expect when you're there, but just tell us a little bit about your experience as a college student.
Well, first, I'm gonna start off by saying my first piece of advice to anybody who is a current college student or a rising senior in high school, looking to go to college, looking to go to trade school, looking to go to whatever school there is, community college. My advice to you is, if you start it, finish it. If you are financially able to get through college, even if that means sacrificing a few things, go get your degree by any means, finish it out. And that's the mindset I had. So when I first went in, I didn't really I expected it to be, I didn't know anybody, of course, but the summer program I started off and made it easier. Like everybody, they made us do activities when we first got there, like icebreakers. So like everyone can get to know each other. And then after that, they're just kind of, you there. So I didn't go to school in Maryland. So of course I couldn't just drive back home. My school actually, you weren't allowed to have a vehicle on campus as a freshman. So that was the main thing, like trying to get around. But as far as meeting people, you meet a lot of people from out of town, a lot of different people from different places. So college kind of helps you, it expands your horizon. You see people who come from this background, and you see people who come from this background. So it kind of show you like not to really judge people, like treat everyone with the same respect, no matter who it is. You can see somebody who you might have someone that's in your class. I know me personally, I had somebody in my class that's 82 years old. And I actually, I had one of his things right here. He used to give me these little sticky things. I don't know if y'all can see them. It's like a little note. This one crumpled up, but I got a bunch of them. And I always keep them. And they say, like, Jesus, I trust in you. Life is just a journey to heaven. Like, and even if you're not really into religion and stuff, like, just something like that. Like, this was my freshman year, probably 5 years ago, but I still always keep those just laying around because every class period, he would come in and just hand me one. Like, come here real quick. You're on the basketball team, right? He'd be like, I'm going to be at the game this week. And then he would just like, keep pushing me. So if he 82 years old and he have nothing, no reason at all to get his degree, he's sitting beside me every day, not missing the class. He raising his hand. He actually raised his hand too much. The professor had to tell him calm down a little bit. But that's just a big motivation. Like,
yeah, but I think that's basically what a lot of people don't understand. And obviously, your environment is huge when it comes to things such as that, because that's what we push. We never put in your heads that it was an option to come back home. And I've always been really big on communication and also on education. So I always felt like growing up that no matter what, someone can't take your education from you. They can't take the knowledge from you. So even if someone can't afford to have formal education, if they can't afford to send their kids to, some of the private schools that you guys attended and so forth, that's fine also. Like, no matter what the situation is, make sure that you're reading, you're educating yourself. Like I always used to and continue to promote that to all of my kids, because education to me is major. Like, just educating yourself as much as possible on any topic. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be, it could be random. You could say, look, I want to know more about why a specific tree grows out west. Like, just read up on it and figure out why, and just educate yourself on anything that you think is important. And you need those positive affirmations all the time. Even in my business and finance and real estate, I always teach in some of our initial trainings about daily affirmations. And it may seem like it's so small that someone is just saying like, you can be awesome, you're amazing, you did a good job today, even to tell yourself that. But more importantly, when someone else tells you you're doing a good job, you can push forward. And then you turn around and see, like, if this person can do it, I know that they're not doing it for their career. Someone that's 82 years old is not sitting in class beside you because they're about to start their career, and it's not for money. It's a mindset and a goal that anything you want to achieve in life, you can do. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter if you're doing it just for finances. You don't have to do it for employment. If you decide that you want to seek higher education, or anything in life, then we've always promoted to, make sure you go out and you don't have to use it as a career. Just like I teach all of you about real estate and finance and investments and stocks and so forth. And I always tell you guys, you don't have to make this your career, but educate yourself about it. Know what it is, know what the process is, know how to trade stocks, know how to understand the value of real estate and owning land, owning property and so forth. And like I said, I know while you were there that, being away from family and friends and so forth and still trying to adjust. But I always tell everyone that asks me, I say, Monte has never called me and said, I give up, I want to come home. Like never. Like no matter what it is, he stays and he understands what the bigger picture is. And he understands that, this time will go past pretty quickly. Which hopefully it seemed like it went past quickly to you. It seemed like it went past so quick to everybody. I mean, everybody's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he's 22 years old already, graduated with his master's degree. You have your company, your bachelor's degree, doing your master's degree, and having your own business and so forth. So it may seem like the time went kind of slow at times to you, but I know to us, it just seemed like every time I turned my head, it was like he's a sophomore, he's a junior. And people that were not in contact every day just couldn't even believe when you graduated. It just seemed like to them that you had almost just left off from high school. So speaking of stocks and so forth as well, I know that you've gotten into Forex lately, and I know that you and I speak all the time about trading stocks, and I've taught you how to get on and how to trade, how to buy stocks and so forth. So I know you've been doing that for a few years and using several different platforms. And in addition to some of the other platforms that you and I day trade on, I know you've also gotten into Forex, which I'm not even really familiar with Forex at all and kind of how it works. But I know that, a lot of millennials in your generation are very much interested in different ways to get into generational wealth and building generational wealth. So tell us a tiny bit also about Forex and kind of how it works and the process of getting started and so forth for anybody out there that may be interested in Forex.
Forex is actually just the foreign exchange market. It's a 7.6, I believe now it may actually be a 7.7 or 7.8 trillion dollar market. But yeah, Forex is basically just trading like foreign exchange currencies. So you might trade like the yen or something for like a US dollar. Like at different times, the currency will fluctuate, and that's when you would jump in and out the trade. But it's like you have team leaders, like you have group chats, 5 group messages that you're in, so you won't really miss a beat. Everybody will be telling you. You have people calling your phone. You got meetings every day that you can get on, trainings. You can start off on demo mode so you can learn how to trade before you actually start using your own money. I actually learned from one of my former teammates, Johnny Rose. Shout out to Johnny. He definitely introduced me to the Forex, foreign exchange market. And I watched him do it for a few months. And I just took the leap, man. I sent him a message one day, like I had the money in my account to do it. So I'm like, let me just get started. Like, why not invest in something that's going to make you back more money? And then once I actually got into the business, it's actually like a big family. Like it was guys who Johnny is the only person I know that I've known for like before I got in Forex. That like I already knew him before I did it. Everyone else I just met only through Forex. So we're all just Forex traders, and that's how we know each other. It was people in there who was calling me every day to make sure I'm in training, not even just training, even if it don't have nothing to do with Forex. Like, how you doing, bro? Is your day good? How was your day? Every single day. And there's people I've known for 10 years that would never ask me how my day was. So, and Forex and the meetings, like, is living proof of kids, or I should say young adults is my age, even kids. It is kids in Forex, ages 6. Wow. People that's in the NBA. It's 6 years. A 6-year-old was in the Forex 500. I think it's 500 summers chat. Like all ages. Moms get their children to sign up. People in the NBA. I know DeJuan Blair. If anyone knows who that is, he's under Forex. I believe a Eagles NFL player. It's a few athletes that's in Forex and everything. So once I started living proof of people that was my age making six figures every month. Like not even just six figures a year, six figures every month. $100,000 a month off right off their phone. So that's what made me really want to really look into it some more.
Yeah,
Like maybe
when
this
I
is up
tell
to something.
people, yeah, when I explain to people that, you know, once I started educating myself, I started putting all of my children on. And I say, you know, that my 9-year-old, since she was 6 or 7, had a retirement account, and all of my kids have investment accounts. A lot of times people can't believe it. They're like, oh my goodness, where did you get that knowledge from, and so forth. And obviously I always credit it back to growing up. And that's why I think that it's so important that a lot of times your kids don't always listen to everything that you say, but they follow everything that you do. So it's like everybody's watching. So I'm always real careful about what I say and what I do and how I present myself. And I've always been really big, you guys know, on budgeting and saving and so forth. And that's obviously what inspired me to start the Working Mom and to do the podcast and so forth. Because that's just always been a major part of my life. Even since I was a teenager in high school, I've never had bad credit. I've never paid a bill late in my life. I've never, I can remember being 19 years old, getting my little Jeep Cherokee, and everybody was looking as I put around town. But I always say I paid $4,000 cash for that Jeep Cherokee, and I didn't know any other 19-year-old that had that kind of money in the bank, because I would take my little job no matter where I worked at. You know, I would pay my rent for 6 months at a time. I would always pay my insurance up. I would just always make sure that that's how I presented and carried myself, so I can make sure for my future and for our future that we were able to have. So it's not something that I just recently got into. I just recently decided to publicly speak about it, because I just feel like in our community, we don't have enough people that are sharing the information. And even in my real estate business, the number one question I get is, I have no idea how to start. I have no idea how to purchase a home. I have no idea how to get into the stock market. I don't know how to save. So many people have never saved $5,000 in their lives. And if so, they may have had it in their account for 30 days and then it's gone. So I just thought that this was an awesome and amazing platform for me to utilize all the knowledge that I've gained throughout the years and be able to just share it with other people. You guys know that I share it with you all the time. So you guys get an earful every day in your whole life. If I'm not walking around here being Maya Angelou and giving a speech about life and family and so forth, and you know, I'm calling you up, telling you how to make sure you budget, make sure you save, make sure that you are buying stocks, make sure you're investing, and just staying on top of you guys about everything. So you guys have heard this speech 1,000 times. So that's why it'd be a good idea to have you guys on. And I'll get your other siblings on as well, because you're not the only child that I have that has their own business. So in the future, I'll make sure that I'm getting on each one of you so you can speak and so forth, so everybody can get to know you guys. I don't share my family and my kids on a regular basis on any of my platforms. So I just figured the podcast would be an awesome opportunity to just share a little bit about ourselves and so forth. And just to piggyback on that, so recently, and I don't even think I mentioned this to you, Monte, but I may have mentioned it to you. So recently I had decided, and I've been thinking about this for probably maybe a year or so, that I was going to offer my financial literacy consultations free to teenage moms. So anybody that knows a teenage mom, 19 years of age or under, any programs that work with teenage moms or anything like that. And actually it's so crazy. I was telling Jerome that I was on Facebook typing up like the post, you know how you type up your post to prepare for what you're gonna put on social media. So I typed it all up, and I actually wasn't even gonna send it. I was gonna wait until like the 1st of August or something to send it. And I made a mistake and hit the send button. So I basically said, look, I mean, maybe it's God, I don't know. So it's posted, it's up there. I really didn't mean to make the announcement that early, but it's fine. That's maybe God's way of pushing me forward, because I have so much on my plate sometimes, and I always have so many ideas of things that I want to do and additional, not only streams of income, but volunteering and things that I can do to give back. And I just said, look at God. He pressed my finger right on the send button when I did not mean to press my finger on the send button. So I want to speak to you about that as well. So I was a teenage mom, and obviously you and I, being my oldest child, you know, we were there from the beginning together in this whole fight towards breaking generational curses and building generational wealth. So hopefully I believe that I did a really, really good job of not even making you aware of the age of your mom until probably you got a little older. I'm not sure if you actually just walked around and was like, oh, I know that my mom's a teenage mom. I tried my best to give you the same life that everyone else that had parents that were in their 30s or 40s at the time had. So just tell me a little bit about that and being the child of a teenage mom and kind of where you've seen us go from the very beginning and kind of our journey together throughout the years.
Well, first, I'm gonna just tell y'all that me and my siblings got the top mom in the world. We really we really make a joke around the house that we have a super mom, and we kind of play around with it. But sometimes I don't think that we actually don't look on her and it's like, okay, I'm not actually super mom, even though I make it look good. So I would definitely say we never went without a day without anything, no matter what it was we needed. My mother definitely made sure that all of us had it at any time, no matter what the cost was, we had it. So we made it work from the very beginning, and it wasn't always pretty, but we made it work. We never let nothing discourage us as a family. We always had unity as a family, no matter what happened in our household. It never really get too far outside the household or anything like that. Like, so I really think that was a big thing, especially where we come from. You just see a lot of people who really, when your children hit 17, 18, and their parents just kind of let them go do their thing. And my mom was there through everything. Like, it was plenty of times I'm like, man, I know she's not like, I know this time she just like, I don't want to hear it. Like, I know this time, I know she's not gonna be there this time. And every time she be like, come on, I got your back, like no matter what. So that's definitely where I get my loyalty from, and always be there behind your family. So I definitely would say we always kept unity together. And always just
I was
never
talking to
give up.
somebody. I was down at Nana's shop yesterday, and I was talking to someone, and I was explaining to them. I said they were saying, yeah, it's hard, you know, having teenagers and young adults because, you know, they go off and they do this and that and they don't listen and so forth. And it's crazy because I can always reassure everyone that I'm not sure what really happens in anybody else's household. But my kids are not around just doing whatever they feel like it, whenever they want. And when they make decisions, they pretty much are aware of who loves them. They're aware of who they can trust and where their loyalty lies. And even if I give advice that you may not always agree with, which you probably agree with most of it, because I try to give the best advice possible and just make sure I think everything through before I act on anything. But even if I say something that you may not 100% agree with, I was letting them know that I'm almost sure that, you know, in my household, that they understand that whether they think I'm coming from a good place or not coming from a good place, that they'll always take heed to everything that I'm saying, because I'm never going to intentionally steer them in the wrong direction. I'm never going to purposely tell them to do something that I wouldn't do myself. And then they replied back to me and said, oh, I didn't know Monte was a mama's boy. And I was like, that does not make him a mama's boy. Like, he's definitely not a mom. Like, I would not call you a mama's boy at all. Like, he's very independent, but he understands, you know, who his mentors are. And if his mentors so happen to be, you know, his mom and, you know, his family, then I don't see anything wrong with that. But I say he definitely makes his own decisions, but you're not going to just come up to him and get him in a scam or something like that, because he knows that, like, let me check in and make sure, you know, have they heard of this before, or read this paperwork for me. And I think that that's the best way to move forward. It's so many young people that waste so much time and lose so much money because they have absolutely no mentors, no guidance at all. Like, you don't want to learn the hard way when you have someone there that can help you along the way. Like, it just, to me, makes absolutely no sense to learn the hard way. Like, why not just have someone there that you know, you trust, know you love, know loves you back unconditionally, and through life, use them as a backbone to say, hey, look over this contract, look over these documents for me. You know, I know that you may have, you know, some years of wisdom on me, and kind of review everything. So I was just like, no, I don't, he's not a mama's boy, like, not at all. He is definitely very independent. He makes his own decisions. We just have conversations about those decisions. And it's amazing, that at 22 years old that you still allow us to be a huge part of your life, because that's always my biggest fear is I don't know when, you know, that cutoff line would be of, you know, allowing us to be that transparent into your life. But I think it's awesome. Hopefully we've always guided you in the right direction and given you really good advice and been a backbone and support. So I think until that ever changes, then I say, you know, I wish it was the same for me. I can't wait to be 60 and have mentors and have people that, you know, I can go to with things and business ideas and so forth. So I actually think it's awesome that we were able to withstand, you know, all those years and so forth. And like you said, it definitely was not easy. So I don't ever want to give that interpretation of being a young or a teenage mom. But I just always felt like that once I made that commitment to bring life into this world, then I just always took it extremely serious. And I mean, I know other moms say that they take it serious, but it's serious and it's Ebony. Those are two totally different levels of seriousness. Is we take this serious, and then it's Ebony's level of taking this serious. And I just always took it to Ebony's level every single time. Like from day one, I said that, you know, if I'm going to make this commitment, then I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I'm fully committed. Like, I'm never even going to put, you know, an ice cream cone in front of my kids. Like, if I'm hungry and they are not, then I'm never going to put anything in front of them. Like, I'm not going to put an outfit, getting the flyest car, getting the flyest, you know, apartment, living in a certain zip code or anything over top of, you know, making sure that my kids are able to live, you know, what we call, you know, a normal life for a teenage mom, and be able to participate in all kind of activities. And I always tried to put you guys in the best possible schools that my money can afford at any time. It may have been better schools, but that's what I can afford to make sure that you guys were in small classrooms and just getting the best education as possible. And I think that, you know, it seems like to me that the decisions I made kind of were okay. It's kind of paying off. You know, you guys are pretty decent citizens and doing pretty good for yourselves. So I'm happy that I made those decisions in the long run, because I'm definitely super, super proud of you guys throughout all your business adventures and everything. So another thing that I wanted to speak on is, you know, we know that you recently relocated. You're kind of in the somewhat trenches of a lot of things that's happening right now, as far as everything with George Floyd and some of the protests and march for police brutality. You're also in one of the largest hotspots for the coronavirus. So obviously, as a mom, we planned this out way before we were even heard of the coronavirus. I mean, we had talked about you relocating for such a long time. It's just so happened that the moment that it was about to happen, we went into like a state of emergency. And now I have to send my child into the hub of a pandemic. So obviously that was not, you know, an amazing feeling for me, but I knew that you had been protected. I knew that we had prayed over you. I knew that you were smart enough and you were brave enough to basically start your life and that you would be fine. But just tell me a little bit about how you feel about what we call Generation Z, your generation, and you guys just being so selfless. And I mean, the young people are out there voting in record numbers. The young people are out there marching in record numbers. I mean, you guys can't be told any rules, any of the past, foolishness or racism, colorism, sexism. I mean, anything that's going on right now. It's just also, I mean, it's amazing to me the voice that you young people had, because again, I'm not from that generation. I'm not from a time where young people could have a voice and where you could speak up and where you can, say how you feel about things. So I think it's awesome. And I just wanted to kind of get your feedback on how you feel. What do you see your peers participating in? I know everybody knows somebody that's probably been out on the front lines out there protesting or posting on their social media or just doing whatever their party is right now. So what's your thoughts on everything that's happening specifically with your generation and how you guys are making a stand?
I think being a part of Generation Z is incredible. Like, this generation is definitely, I would say, the most powerful generation because of how outspoken everyone is. As far as the marches and everything, as far as the racism stuff that's going on, Generation Z is basically like, it's something you've never seen before because everybody is doing their own thing. Nobody's afraid to. I would say that Generation Z holds people accountable. So like, if you do something, social media is going to hold you accountable. You can't just fake like you on a boat and it's not yours. Social media is going to tell everybody
they find
that's not
out. That's
theirs.
it.
Social media is going to tell everybody that doesn't belong to you. So I feel like it definitely, I just feel like Generation Z just need a little more guidance. I feel like everybody definitely noticing, like, I seen a lot of people starting to, okay, let's own our own stuff. Like, we can actually be owners. Let's get some paperwork with our names on it. It's just that everyone doesn't really know, like, where to go. Like, they have the idea, like, this is what I want to do, but how do I get there? And the generation before us lacked that guidance that we need for the next generation. So with this generation, have to understand is basically that whatever your role models or your parents wasn't able to provide for you, like, don't hold them accountable or hold it over their head, because that might have been all they had to give you. So that's why the education come back into play. Knowledge is power. The more you read and read and read on your own, it can be somebody that's been incarcerated for 10 years and they might be more intelligent than somebody that have an associate's degree just because they've been there reading a ton of books. So knowledge is definitely power. And I would say Generation Z is definitely one of the key, like, we got it in our sight. We got the goal in sight. We need to get in the office. We need to get in these higher levels. We need to be self-employed. We need the generational wealth. So now I feel like Generation Z as a whole is just working on, like, helping each other out. Just like,
the movement is crazy. I mean, the movement is crazy. The fact that so many young people have businesses or want to start businesses and are trying to figure out, how can they use their 9 to 5 to help themselves build generational wealth? How can they use the income that they have where, like you said, that's not how, the previous generation was. It was you work, you go to, as long as you had a 9 to 5, as long as you had a steady job, as long as you had, your pension, a lot of the old school forms of creating wealth are just kind of out the window. And like I said, for those that are still in their 9 to 5 right now or still in those corporate positions, they're now using that additional time. When you have downtime, instead of just sitting at your cubicle and chatting, they're online trying to figure out, how do I start my business? But just like you said, the main issue right now is a lot of people have no idea where to even start. They don't have that guidance from the previous generation. And I actually said when I was at Nana's shop the other day, I had got some pictures and some videos because I feel as though that, me coming from a family and parents that growing up, I always knew my parents had businesses. We always had tenants. We always, had things of that nature. So to me, that's something that I always knew. So it was easy for me to basically realize, the way you get residual income is through having tenants, is through having properties, is through having commercial properties. But everybody's not in that situation. So I want to highlight next week on my Finance Friday on my Instagram, the Working Mom LLC, I want to definitely highlight my parents' businesses that they've had for as long as I can remember, and have tons of commercial properties in Baltimore City. And they've always, like I said, they've always had tenants, they've always had businesses. And that was something that was instilled in me, because I remember, I mean, even at my first job at McDonald's, I remember my dad coming to me, and even if my check was $100, he was basically like, what are you going to do with this $100? Like, let's sit down and figure out, where's this money going to go? I was never allowed to just take it and go to the mall. And I know that a lot of people don't really monitor their kids like that, but it definitely reflects, because those teenagers now are now adults. They're now in their mid-30s, and they have no idea how to start a savings plan. They have no idea how to get themselves out of credit card debt. Like they just have no idea what interest means and things of that nature. So I love that Generation Z is basically trying to educate themselves and learning more of the process. And with social media, I mean, it's just amazing. Like it's so many private groups, it's so many groups about interests, about real estate, about finance and credit cards. And I mean, it's so much information out there that almost anything that you're thinking of, or anything that comes in your head between YouTube and social media, you can basically pull up a video to almost teach you anything if you really want that knowledge and you want to start your business and start building that generational wealth also. So kudos to Generation Z, because our generation definitely did not have the guts that you guys have. Like, you guys are so outspoken. And again, I think it's awesome. I'm huge on being able to speak up, say how you feel, breaking generational curses. I mean, people don't understand that it's almost like a job to break a generational curse. Like, sometimes you may go back to it next week and find yourself doing something that you basically have devoted yourself to. Like, I'll never do this again. I don't want to be like my parents. I don't want to be like my grandparents. I don't want to be, you know, like my great grandparents in some of those older ways. We may take some things from them, but it may be some things that we just don't want to do in that form or fashion moving forward with our children. And I always say this, almost like a job. You almost have to catch yourself and say, like, look, I don't want to just yell all day. I don't want to just turn around and, you know, even with spankings. I used to tell people years ago, when I first started saying that I didn't spank my kids, everybody just was like, oh, that's a white thing. That's not our culture, and things of that nature. And I decided, like, I don't want to have to go upside my child's head in order to tell them something. Like, they're pretty smart kids around here. Like, I really feel like that I can just have a conversation with them. And it's other forms, if I do want to have some kind of consequence or punishment per se, for something that they may have done, that you have to be able to, you know, give them that life lesson that for everything that you do, there is a consequence. But it doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, punching them and hitting them and spanking them. Like, to me, it's just, I always started thinking of it like this. Like, if somebody's going upside my head, I really can't even think. So it's no way that I can basically listen to anything that you're saying. I can't get it right. We're not going to move forward. I can't improve my grades. Like, none of that can happen if you're cursing me out and going upside my head every second, because all I'm going to do is be in a defense. I can't even think when somebody's doing that to me. So when I sat down and thought about things like that, then I just wanted to start making a change. And I believe it started there. Like, it really just started with trying to change the narrative about everything and making sure that we have a strong foundation and that we're able to stick together. And like I said, discuss things, build generational wealth. I always say that I'm not the first generation millionaire in our family, because my parents were doing pretty good for themselves way back in the 80s and 90s. So I'm quite sure that they'll get the honor, the Medal of Honor for the #1 spot. But I'll happily take #2, and then I'll pass #3 down on to you, and you can pass down to your siblings and so forth as well.
Yeah, we just gonna go in line.
Yeah, we gonna make sure that we're good. So also, I know that
And it
Obviously,
wasn't easy. Before you go on, and it wasn't easy.
no,
Everybody still
it's,
got it out the mud. Don't let them, because you
yeah,
said
it's
your parents was
definitely,
wealthy back then. They've been thinking you've been spoon fed and handed down. People will
no,
take that wrong.
no. Yeah, well, we definitely don't want to put that narrative out there because, again, my parents were really old school. So even though they had certain things, they really didn't just come up to have those conversations with us on a regular basis. You would have to kind of present to them a question specifically, and then you could possibly get, some of the
Get that
answer to it, but
information.
it wasn't necessarily just a spoon. No, they weren't going to give you anything. Like, they definitely
Yeah.
believed in hard work. If you want it, you have to have the passion, you have to have the dedication. They were really big on, if you want something in life, you have to go out there and work hard for it, because you won't be getting a penny of the money that we worked hard for at all. So they didn't give us anything. We definitely worked for everything we had, and I'm glad that you made that point, because that's a great point to acknowledge, because a lot of people don't see that. They see the glitz and the glam, but nobody wants to deal with, being at the bottom and all the struggles that it takes and the sacrifice that it takes to get to a certain point. Everybody just, I mean, even in real estate now, people will buy their first home and they'll automatically say, because if it's not my dream home, then I'll just wait. And to me, it's just like, that's absolutely crazy. I was always taught that if you get a pre-approval letter, I don't care if it's for 120,000, I don't care if it's for 150,000, you get yourself into a property. You start owning real estate. If you got to get in there and redo the paint, redo the carpet, start painting the cabinets, putting new door handles, whatever you got to do, but you get into ownership. So sometimes it just breaks my heart when I see so many young people that want the dream, and don't understand that it is sacrifice. And that's one thing that our ancestors and our previous generation definitely brought to the table, is the hard work. So if Generation Z gets that motivation along with the hard work balanced together, then I mean, you guys will definitely not be able to be stopped at all in the future. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, that's going to be amazing. Like, I can't wait to see it. I still have, you're the oldest, so I have younger kids that will definitely be a part of that movement and so forth. So I can't wait to see you guys, building generational wealth and making sure that you guys come next in line. And I know that you specifically, and Martise as well, are very interested. Martise is my 17-year-old son, is very interested in also jumping into real estate as well. Um, so I know now that you've relocated, we're working on starting you with the process and getting you some properties under your belt. When I went into my first contract to purchase real estate, I was 18 years old. By the time I was 23 years old, I had already owned over $500,000 in real estate. And by the time I was 30, I had definitely already owned well over $1 million in real estate. So I definitely am a huge advocate in building wealth through real estate, because I believe that, and I know personally, because it's basically how I gained a lot of my success and was able to sustain the life that we have now. And it basically started with purchasing that first property and getting, so much equity in that first property, and flipping that first property, renting that first property, and building that residual income. Um, so just tell us a little bit about your interest in real estate. I know it came from your mom, but any other thing that you can think about that may draw your attention, other than we know that you've had the potential to have unlimited income, but just about kind of building some generational wealth and getting some properties and some land and so forth.
Well, yeah, I was definitely about to say it definitely came from you. So I'm watching everything she do. I'm on it. If she doing it, I'm doing it. But yeah, I started, of course, from just watching you, and then I just after that, I just like started expanding on my own a little bit, looking up other real estate agents, some real estate agents that might make millions or more, and see how they started off, and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. In different areas that real estate is big in, and actually Texas has, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's like a law that Texas had where you can basically put real estate anywhere. So like anywhere you see a piece of grass at, you can go get documentation saying that this piece of land belongs to me. So if you see a big church right here and somebody wants to come put a strip club right there, there's no law that said they can't put a church right next to a
Yeah,
strip
like
club. They're allowed to do
jurisdictions and
that.
so forth are
Yeah,
more lenient in that area.
you can buy land anywhere, and just riding down the road is just a ton of land out here. They still building apartments right down the street. They still building businesses, townhomes. So I definitely think it's a great time to jump into real estate. And I just like the freedom of having being able to make my own schedule, not having to get up early in the morning at a certain time or punch out or having to ask somebody else, can I take these 2 days off or can I take this day off because I have a doctor's appointment. So definitely the freedom, the real estate, just the whole package. They give you the freedom to make your own schedule and you can still create generational wealth off of it. So I definitely something I'm going to start before the year is out.
Yeah, what my favorite thing that kind of got me stuck into real estate was the residual income. Initially, I wasn't really I wasn't really big on selling my real estate or flipping. I pretty much like to buy and hold, which is my favorite strategy. Sometimes even when I buy the properties, I kind of get so connected to them because I pick pretty good properties out. So I would hate to just lose them and sell them, even if it's going to make me that, that big check per se. Because I always kind of felt like that I'm strong-minded enough to pass up the big check for the forever check. And the forever check comes with buy and hold real estate. And they always say the best time to buy real estate was last year. So it's never too late to do it. And if you haven't done it already, then it's definitely that time to hop on the bandwagon, get some ownership, get some land, start buying up several properties. Like I said, I didn't necessarily have a play-by-play instruction from my parents, but growing up, that was all I knew. Even now, I see a lot of young people getting into the vending machine business and other things. And I can remember my parents owning vending machines when we were younger. Like all the vending machines inside of their beauty salons, they actually own. Like we could just open up the door and get a water. We could open up the door and get a pack of chips. And I know you guys probably remember the same thing, just going to, Nana and Red shop, and then we just walk in, and if you want something, you just kind of get the key and go into the vending machine and get whatever you want. So I know that those are things now that, are major, but even just seeing that, put that thought in my head and put that business ethic in my head, even if, you give a full explanation on how they started their path and their careers, but it's just seeing it. Like, it's just seeing the fact that, you should have a business, you should have property, you should have these residual incomes and different streams of residual income. We would clear out the vending machine and that would be a whole other stream of income just sitting there off of candy, chips, and water. So that's just something that, everybody needs to learn about a little more and so forth. So I think this podcast was awesome. I thank you so much for being here with me today. And before we check out, I just want you to just tell me a little bit, not only about the future of the I Am brand, but just also let us know a little bit about your future endeavors. I know you're in the middle of your master's program in psychology and kind of where you plan on taking that degree, and what you plan on doing in the future, and kind of the future of I Am brand. And I know you said that you want to get it on a global platform and so forth, but what will we be seeing in the near future from you in totality?
From here on out, I'm going to be working on expanding the I Am brand. We're working on having an online store as well as having some gear on hand, because I noticed a lot of people, especially from the city we're from, like having gear on hand or seeing it like on people's bodies, stuff like that. Like this shirt right here is not even on the website yet. But yeah, a lot of people like doing that. The master's program, I'm still doing that. I actually had a little minor setback. I decided to switch programs on my own. It wasn't anything that I was forced to do or anything. I just chose to start a different program. So there's no problem. I'll wait a few more months to wait for the bigger goal of actually getting that second degree. With
Yeah,
my
because you should
degree, I
almost
plan
be
on,
finished probably what, middle of next year?
yeah, sometime next year, definitely. The next 12 months or so, 12, 15 months, sometime like that.
Mm-hmm.
With my degree, like I said, if you don't know, I love working with children with autism, disability, behavior problems, kids, anything. Like, that's my specialty. I think the youth is our biggest, like, the youth is next up. If we can instill in the youth what everybody been trying to instill in us, and but the generation before Generation Z has been trying to like instill in Generation Z, the generation after us is definitely going to be a crazy generation. So I love working with kids. Like I said, I'm a behavior technician right now. I eventually want to start my own nonprofit where like children with autism can actually work inside the nonprofit. Things like that. I want to get into real estate. So the remainder of this year, I'm just going to keep doing my master's classes, um, get my real estate license, study for that. I like, once I start something, I really want to get deep into it. So I definitely want to start learning real estate like the back of my hand. So I want to become a student to that and keep expanding the brand. There's a bunch of new items that's going to come out. We got a ton of new designs. We got designs waiting for January 2021 already. So just be in store for that. Make sure y'all keep tuning in. Make sure y'all keep watching the Working Mom podcast. Make sure y'all go follow the Working Mom LLC on Instagram. Make sure you guys go follow iambrand.official on Instagram, www.iambrandofficial.com. Make sure you guys go check out the JJ Sisters YouTube channel. That's my younger siblings. Y'all probably gonna see them on the podcast soon.
Yeah, they'll be
Um,
on. And Martise
there,
is my 17-year-old. I've been training him in real estate. We've been going over contracts. He's going to get his real estate license before he graduates high school. So and by the time he's able to get his license, he'll already know how to do contracts. He's been working in our investment business. So I'll have him on the podcast soon talking about things. So my girls, like you said, the JJ sisters, they've been business owners. The JJ Sisters LLC has been probably since they were 7 and 11 years old or so forth. Um, so yeah, I'll have all my kids on here. We'll share a little bit about everyone's business and what they're doing, and as you guys expand. And just plug your website and your IG page one more time so everybody can get that.
Instagram at iambrand.official, and we spell I am EYE. iambrand.official on Instagram, and website www.iambrandofficial.com, and support mental health awareness.
Okay, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to your mom today. This is a great podcast, and we'll definitely have you on before the end of the year. Give us an update on your master's program and more about the I Am brand, and get some more. We got tons of I Am merch over here at the house. The kids wear your merch all day. I actually don't even like putting it on when I'm just in the house because I don't want to mess it up. Because you're in
I
Houston,
will
so
everywhere.
yeah, you're in Houston, so I don't know when you're gonna be able to ship me some more, and we probably don't get down to Houston till the end of the year to be able to get some more. So I try to hold sacred the merch that I have right now, but we love all the I Am brand merch. Is quality stuff, and the girls are wearing in all their videos and so forth. So we'll touch base back with you before the end of the year, bring you back on the podcast. And again, just kind of check up on you and get some more information about how your business is doing. And hopefully next time we'll be able to get Will on here as well, so we can have both of the CEOs and founders of the I Am brand to talk about him a little bit. He has also an amazing story. Just graduated from college with his degree in finance, his bachelor's degree. He's about to go overseas to play basketball. So it's just some young people out here with some amazing stories. I know sometimes we get the other side of some of our young Black brothers and what they're doing and some of the negative platforms, but it's so many young people out here doing amazing things. So we definitely want to get him back on the podcast with you as well to speak about some of the things that he's doing. hopefully we can get a little bit of his time right before he goes overseas to play ball. And he can share a little bit about his college experience and so forth as well. So we would definitely get you back on pretty soon.
Yeah, I'll definitely be back on here with updates. Like I said, there's new designs coming from the I Am brand, so I'll ship you guys a care package. And congrats to you on your first episode of the Working Mom
Thank you,
podcast.
thank you, thank
We've
you,
been
thank
talking
you.
about doing this for forever now. Not even really that long, but we just been like, finally we're gonna get it done this week. And I think it
Yeah.
actually turned out great. So it's
Yeah, it
only up
turned out
from here.
amazing. And you know how I am. I have so many ideas that are always in my head. There's so many moves that I want to make. And I try to utilize my 24 hours that God gave me. I try to utilize every moment of it. I really always feel like I'm the type of person that only needs about an hour of sleep, and then I can get back up and get going with anything that I can do. But I'm so glad that we officially got this first episode underway. I'm ready to get this up on all platforms, on the Working Mom TV YouTube channel. Like you said, it's been weeks in the making. My producers, Jules and Jordan, have been in the background all day helping me get my set together. Martise has been in the background making sure I have my webcam set up, that my microphone is set up. Jerome's been changing out all the light bulbs in the house all night long. So my whole production team has been a huge help. And, that's how we are. That's what it's all about. If somebody has a goal, somebody has something that they want to do, there's no reason to have to go out and find people. I mean, it's 6 of us. It's more than enough people to, band in together to support, each other's dreams and what each other wants to do and so forth. So thank you so much again for being my first guest. I wouldn't have had it any other way than to have you on the platform. I know it's probably so many things that we didn't get into. So like I said, we got to get you back. We got to get you back to tell some more, stories of living with your crazy mom. We'll get you back on here to tell some more of those stories and give some more information on all the many speeches I've given throughout your life and so forth. But I love to have you back. Thanks so much. This is the first episode of The Working Mom, and I think it was amazing today. And, we're going to try to post these episodes regularly. And I know that you even requested that I do some on real estate and how did I get into the real estate industry and so forth. So I know people want to hear so much more from me, but I also want to make sure that I highlight some of these businesses, Black-owned businesses and so forth of our young people. And I couldn't not highlight my son's business and my kids' business first. So I'll definitely be doing this again. And thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in to the Working Mom podcast.
Talk to you guys soon. Love you, Mom.
Love you.